Tomorrow's Today.
Welcome to Tomorrow's Today, a visual podcast for art, comedy, and experimental fun stuff.
I'm the Dux Fox with the Moxie Socks. I apologize.
And I'm Spyfry.
And today, we have a nice little thing for you. Not only that, we have an extra edition. As I said earlier, we have recruited more recruits for another set of Heavy Artillery. And with us today, we have a very, very talented artist who has decided to join the ranks of us. You know what? It would help if I had my pinned messages. There we go. Perfect. So what we are going to be doing today is we're going to talk about a lady who has been inspired by numerous different mediums, that being of tattooing, 50s aesthetics, and World War II pinups. She is also drawn to very humorous things and kitsch vintage pinups. Loves doing fan arts, but trying to move away from it, even though it does sell well at cons. And they're currently working on 2 styles, in addition to doing commissions. She calls them Booze Babes animals in an American traditional tattoo style. Let's give it up to our friend and acquaintance and our guest tonight, Dragonmelde. How are you doing, Dragon?
Welcome, Mel.
Hey, I'm doing great.
Excellent.
I'm happy to be here.
Oh, we're very, very glad to have you along with us and hope that you get to enjoy the show just as much as our viewers do. That said,
Yeah.
I hope I did a little bit of justice of your stuff.
I think so.
That's good. That's good. So
Yeah.
right now what we're doing and what we typically tend to do right at the start of the show is we have a collage of different things that are going across the screen of all the different works that you've done.
Indeed, we've got a little
Cool.
slideshow going.
Now, a majority of your art itself is that of animal themed. Now, Spyry and I, we tend to call it anthro art just because of how it's a little bit more descriptive of it. Would you call it anthro art or would you call it furry art?
So I definitely would call it furry art, but
Okay.
I would say if I was trying to talk to like professionals, I would call it's anthro art, anthropomorphic inspired art, because I wanted to sound more professional.
Absolutely, absolutely. Plus, also with people who might not be within the realm of the furry fandom, it would probably be better to just
Right.
call it anthro art so that you don't give some sort of connotations.
When you don't want to have to go through the whole explanation of what it is, it's just, I call them my sexy animal people.
There's-
And they're like, all right.
That's a clever alternative without being super intimidating.
I like that.
Yeah.
Sexy animal people.
Yeah.
So, I know we've gone in a little bit into some of your stuff, but how, in your own words, how would you describe some of the art that you do?
Well, I mean, like the tattooing, I would say, is a big core part of it. That's a big inspiration into like how I approach coloring and stuff.
So are we talking thick borders, heavy lines in order to
Yeah.
portray contrasts better?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I'm really drawn to really bold line work, and I think that's something that's really, it's really important in my work and really determines like what I end up doing.
That's actually been kind of a big theme that we've been hitting on as of late. We've been looking at 2 other artists on top of Spyry's work as well, and much of it has really had to do with the way that they portray their line art. Fleety is very intricate, very detailed, doesn't use a lot of heavy lines, but uses the lines in such a way to portray such depth and detail into what he works. Whereas Splattercat
is his variation in the curvature of his lines.
and then
Those
weight.
thick, yes.
With yours, it looks like you're a lot more expressive with your lines just by seeing a few of these pictures. With your tattoos, you tend to go for the thick and heavy in order to portray the profile of it. Whereas with your sexy animal people, you don't necessarily use as many heavy lines, but you're able to portray the little intricacies, the small registers that give inference to bigger things. Like, for instance, with your one of the pictures that you have on my screen here, the rabbit lady that gosh, I know I'm butchering it. I shouldn't say that. It's a fairy It's a
Yeah, the absinthe,
absinthe fairy. Yes,
the green fairy. Yeah.
you can tell that there's certain details there, but it's not expressly It's not expressly designed, but it hints towards it. So, like in the breast area, you can kind of get an inference that there's a perk there, and you know what that perk is, but it's not expressly. What's the word I'm looking for? It's not expressly detailed to give graphic detail.
Right. And I think a lot of that, like, difference between, like, the tattoo animals versus my, like, full body anthros is just the amount of detail that I can include. Because, like, the tattoo work is a lot smaller, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, like, there's a lot more just details in a full figure. And the line work is the same, like, stylistically outside of the thickness itself.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of little touches that I put in my line work, like little details. Like at the end of lines, you know, I learned, if you put like little dots, it'll make it look like they're kind of trailing off. Well, that has morphed into now just putting like these big dashes at the end of, you know, lines. So now it's more of a graphical concept as opposed to a technique to make the line look like it's fading away more naturally.
Absolutely, and it definitely leads a lot to the impression of what's being previewed, for sure. Mm-hmm. So let's go back a little bit. Let's actually, no, I think Spirey has something.
You have mentioned that you like to dabble on both realms of drawing for digital and traditional. Do you have a preference on either or?
I would say nowadays, definitely digital. Mm-hmm. My background is in traditional art completely. I have zero digital training. I've completely taught myself how to do digital. And I used to really, really enjoy just doing traditional. I was like a purist, you know. I was one of those people that was like, ooh, digital art.
Funny enough, Fleety is actually giving you some props right now. He had in his interview talked about people who were traditional mediums and thought that digital art was like a method of cheating, and he actually now says that, oof, I love that D20 among the roses.
And he says, yes, the purist.
Mm-hmm.
I was one of those purists.
Mm-hmm.
But I actually, as bad as it might sound, I started doing digital for the money because people like the bright colors you can get with digital, and they don't value the traditional medium as much.
Well, that too, so, and it's also very accessible to your time and your placement, your needs.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I started doing it really for that, but now I've really fallen in love with the versatility I can get with having a laptop and a program as opposed to having all of my art supplies I have to cart with me everywhere.
That and the overhead of having all those materials, every single detailed brush, every single paint supply, etc.
Would you consider it more green?
Yeah, more eco-friendly?
Yeah, probably. I mean, I'm certainly using a lot less paper.
Oh, that's for sure. So I was gonna, as I was gonna say earlier, let's go back a little bit. Where did you find yourself starting, either in art or towards your tattooing and your sexy furry people?
Well, I mean, I've been drawing forever, really. So it was just natural to, keep drawing and turn it into what I do now full time. Mm-hmm. But the switch to drawing, furries and animal people, it started like I was in college, and I was doing other, I was doing like paintings and stuff like that, and one of my friends was just like, hey, this thing exists, and I was like, oh, well, that's cool, I want to do that. Telling me about like the furry fandom, so like I joined that, and ever since I did that, it really just jump started my my art, I actually started taking art seriously. It became something I could do as opposed to just a hobby that I dabbled in. And I've always drawn, pin-up-y stuff, but adding the animal aspect onto it, I think adds another layer of the kitsch and the fun that I think makes them more accessible and less, this is just a sexy person on the page. So like I've actually found that a lot more people that aren't in the furry fandom find like they like my animal people, which I think that's interesting.
I've actually highlighted in a previous episode, I think when I was interviewing Spyrie herself as our introductory pilot. It's known fact. During the 90s, many of the shows that had animal-like characters were more prolific and more viewable by children, just because the profile that sexy animal people, I mean, anime people too, but
same thing.
Same thing. They just have a better profile. So you have your characters like Batman, Superman. They're easily recognizable for that, but they're really kind of samey. The only reason Batman really protrudes out is because of the pointed ears, the long dripping cape with the pointed bottoms. But when you start getting to different characters like Star Fox, or you're starting into characters like Captain Bucky O'Hare or the Ninja Turtles,
it's those silhouettes.
Exactly, the silhouettes and the design of those silhouettes really get attention from people. A lot of people who were growing up, not necessarily in the 80s, maybe early 90s, back when Animaniacs was the thing, they started getting their furry tendencies from the mink, of all things, in that cartoon. But, that's probably because of other reasons, but it just happened to be a mink. Still, it's really interesting to see that animal figures are just so easy to portray. Plus, it doesn't have the limitations of culture. When you see a rabbit, it doesn't matter if you're Japanese or anything like that. You can see a rabbit and you know it's a rabbit.
And that's something that I like, because I think that allows me to play around more with what I'm drawing, where I don't have to worry about, am I going to, offend somebody with my sexy lady? And that's something I never want to do that ever. And I think by drawing animals, it's less risky with that, and it's a lot more fun. I just think, with like you said, with the silhouettes, and it's easier to create a fun character design.
Backtracking just a little bit for the traditional versus digital. We got 2 comments here saying that it's hard to control Z with traditional, and that was from Wolfsinger. And then Fleety seconds that with, I've literally done traditional after digital and caught my hand moving to the control Z position before realizing, oh hey, yeah, use an eraser. Derp.
Trying to hit save while I'm sketching in my sketchbook is just, I'm like, oh, I'm going to go off and do something else, and time, done sketching, and I try to hit Control S to save it, and I'm like, oh, it's.
I can imagine Splattercat also just like he probably has the easiest out of everyone, because he likes to.
He doesn't like to use Control Z much.
No, he doesn't like to.
With it.
He goes with it, which is very versatile as an artist. But additionally, too, he moves his canvas around all the time because he tailors to specifically his curved stroke. So if he'll flip the image and then he'll make the stroke in order to make it go left instead of to the right, and he'll flip it back to okay, perfect.
Yeah, and that's a huge thing that makes digital way nicer to do. Oh.
We've also got a couple questions from the non-furry furry. He asked, tools of trade. When it comes to digital art, what software is your go-to? And he's also seeing a ton of different species in the sexy animal figures that you're drawing. What's your favorite species?
All right. Well, I'll start with the program. I use Photoshop. I use their Creative Cloud. So the most recent Photoshop that you pay monthly for.
I'll tell you right now,
But
I miss it. I do miss it. We were on that for a long time. That's what I learned with back in college when I was doing my graphic arts and graphic design associate's degree. I do miss it, but I'm starting to appreciate some of the other programs. Go ahead. Didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah. Oh no, you're fine. I was gonna say, like, I'm with you. Like, that's what I started learning on. Like, I had a copy of it, Photoshop back when I was a kid. Not that I could draw on it at all, but I had a copy of it that I tried to draw on. And then I didn't draw on digitally for a long time. And then when I started back up, it was just like, oh, well, I've always used Photoshop. Let me use Photoshop.
It's like riding a bike. You can put it down and not touch it for a while, and all it takes is just riding on it again to get the hang of it once more.
True enough.
Yeah, I mean, really, it's knowing, like, just recognizing the tools that are available on the program. Whereas, like, people are like, oh, well, you should use Psy, or I don't know what the other one is. There's another one that's out now that everyone's using, and they're like, you should get it. So I went and I downloaded it. I bought it when it was on sale, and I was like, I went up and I'm like, I don't have the mental capacity to try to learn a new program right now. I'm like, nope, not gonna happen right now.
You are speaking my language, so I so relate to that. I see a program that I get excited about because I know it allows for another avenue or another way to express yourself, and then you look at the UI and you're like,
nope.
I wasted $50.
And
not today.
I'm bad with new programs because I'll learn one and then I'll drop it on Docs, and he's like, I have no idea how to use it.
I'll look at it and be like, where's the pen tool?
Yeah, right. Like, I don't understand. These symbols, they are so foreign to me.
It's so familiar. It's so different. I don't like it. Put it back. Put it back. Put it back.
Bring me Photoshop. I don't care if it makes my computer have to be a tank. I want it.
And then the second part of the question is, what is your favorite species that you like to draw?
That's a tough one. Recently, it's been rabbits, and I don't know why. Yeah, it's recently. It changes depending, but I draw a lot of canines and felines and dragons a lot, just because they're the most popular species. And so I get really excited when there's something different. And I know rabbits are pretty popular, but I don't draw very many. So, like, they're always fun because I like drawing their big ears and their little short faces. And
they're so fluffy.
I know. All the ear fluff.
Yeah, sidebar. Rabbits actually do make for good household pets regarding a replacement dog if you can't have a dog.
His family used to raise and breed them.
Indeed. We didn't do it the way I just described. We actually had them in large metal cages outdoors 24/7 unless it got too cold. But no, if you wanted to have an alternative to a dog that would still run up and greet you and feign to your touch when you start petting it, a rabbit is capable of doing it, and they're potty trainable, so they can poop in a bucket. So it's like having a cat and a dog with being neither. Let's see here. Splattercat says, silhouette is something I need to work on. It's the pry to the next step for me. And he was the previous guest. That's nice. Let's see here. Oh, here's a question from my buddy Raniel. You said that you were originally a traditional artist. Who would you say was a large inspiration to your traditional art?
That's a tough question.
Yeah, that is.
I can't say there's any one person. I would say it's more of genres. Like the obviously, like, the tattooing stuff, that came into play a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, poster design, specifically, like the 20s, posters. I can't think of the couple of the artists off the top of my head.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. The World War II ones with the what's her name? Something Betsy?
Oh well, yeah, like the Betty Page.
Yeah, Betty Page.
Betty
Betty Page.
Betty Page. Well, she's an inspiration for like the pinup side of stuff, but as far as like the actual, like how I approach like my drawings and stuff, and especially with the traditional stuff, it was really like the poster graphical design. Some of it was like the propaganda posters. I find them to be just, both hysterical and just incredibly interesting.
They do have a profound image. It can really burn into somebody's brain for sure.
And I like that graphic quality, like how they went about doing that to get their point across. And then even earlier than that, there is like the Art Nouveau stuff, definitely in my early work, and you can see it a little bit in my my Absinthe Fairy, because I mean that's the same era. But a lot of my early stuff I did was more like that. It was very, very bad copies, essentially. Like, let me design Art Nouveau pieces, but they were garbage. But everybody has garbage work in their past, so we all have to come from somewhere.
As Splattercat says, never recognize that you've improved.
Right. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I did have some of my. I think I sent you guys some of my old pieces.
We'll get to those soon.
We brought up a specific piece. Fleety asks, "Are you an RP gamer, and did you draw that D20 from being a gamer, or did something else inspire you to draw that piece?"
I definitely play a ton of Dungeons and Dragons. So,
awesome.
Yes.
Well, I know exactly who to tat if we go back to Tales of Tomorrow as an RPG.
Hi.
Yeah.
Very good, very good. Let's see here. What else do we have? Cutesy Fenrir has asked, how long have you been drawing for? I think we mentioned that. You said you've been drawing forever. Do you have a little more specificity to it?
I can. I've been drawing since I could literally hold a crayon, but I've been taking art seriously for about the past decade. That's about when I both joined the furry fandom and decided to pursue an art degree. So before that, it was just dabbling. I didn't take anything seriously. I will say that what I practiced as a child, I didn't think of as practice, but it totally was practice.
Absolutely.
And so I definitely had a head start when I got into doing art seriously, but it's been the past decade where you can see the major improvement where I actually was practicing with intention and decided to do art as a career, even though I had a lot of work to do before I could do it as a career. That's the turning point.
Very good. So would you say that the turning point itself was, how do you say, not just where you got serious, but where you decided that art was going to be your means to start living by? Or was that like just your decision that you're going to make art a major factor as part of your life while still pursuing other career opportunities too?
I can't say I ever gave it much thought. I was in college and I was like, I want to do art and I want to be an artist, but I don't think ever thought I could. At the same time, I was also pursuing a degree in English and I thought that's what I would do, and maybe I would do art on the side. But now it's the exact opposite. I do art full time and I can write really good emails.
So my buddy Rainiel, he says, favorite class, go.
I play Bard.
Bard.
Yeah, I'm a Bard player. I really like to talk a lot.
And then the non-furry furry says, were you talking about the 30s Bauhaus movement?
No, but I definitely can see how that could have possibly been an inspiration, but it definitely wasn't something that I sought out looking at a lot. I'm trying to think I can't remember the name of the one guy that I really liked, and I just can't think of his name.
Brain farts happen to all of us.
Did poster art. He also did poster art during like the Absinthe era. but I can't think of his name.
Off the top question, somewhat relevant. What's your feelings on BioShock?
I have never played it. I know.
Have you watched a live stream or
I've
a recording?
watched most of BioShock Infinite.
Infinite? Okay,
I can't
that's not too bad.
It's the one that's like super Americana. Are they all super
Yes.
Americana?
Oh,
I
you're
really
right.
enjoyed it, and I would like to play it. I would like everything about it was totally up my alley. I've just never played it.
I'll tell you this much: like, I didn't start with BioShock Infinite. I did get it, but I decided that instead of going into BioShock Infinite with a clean palette, I would go back into BioShock 1 because the visuals weren't too disjointed and they weren't too far off from what was being portrayed. So I got excited for BioShock Infinite because it was describing the Civil War but in alternate reality. And I was like, okay, I can't get into the third part of a series if I don't know what happened in the first part. And I feel I've already heard bad things about the second part. So I made a conscious decision that I would actually do the first one before I did the third one. And the amount of 20s inspired Bauhaus to Art Deco stuff inside of that game is just tremendous. It breathes this life into the world that, like, I would tell anybody to give it a try, even though like the mini games is just pipe dreams and whatever else. But even though the backtracking can be a little bit bad, the story and narrative sets up the third BioShock very, very well. And the third BioShock, the story in it itself just throws you through loops about the way that it accomplishes its story.
There's a quick plug from Nev. She says, PS Plus next week has BioShock Collection for free. So if you're interested, it's there.
Yeah, PlayStation Plus.
Cool.
Cafe.
I don't have a PlayStation.
Gotcha. Cafe Corgi says, I played the first BioShock and loved it. Cutesy Fenrir says and asks, which do you like drawing more, the safe for work versions or the non-safe for works? Sorry if this has already been asked.
I like drawing safe for work stuff, but I like drawing safe for work that is more on the risque side of things. I don't want to show the naughty bits. I don't, but if they're tastefully covered,
You like insinuating it.
Yeah.
There you go.
Completely respect that.
Yeah, it's like the 50s pinups that you see, like the World War II pinups where, like, they're kind of goofy, and maybe the lady's on the beach and, like, she's half covered by, like, her lei. But it's kind of comedic, but also kind of saucy, but not, just not pure.
I kind of feel that's more tasteful in some ways because it kind of leaves more to the imagination, as it were.
Spy and I were talking before about some of the artworks and why she doesn't do NSFW stuff, and we both kind of came to the conclusion that it is a preference, but we came to the conclusion that if you are able to accomplish more with safer work stuff rather than giving in and showing the bits, then you're portraying your art correctly. You are drawing inspiration for someone to want to really see what's under that thing without having to actually draw it.
Not to downcast any that preferred the other style.
Oh, no, absolutely. I mean, you got to get your porn from somewhere, for sure.
Right. And I have no problem drawing it. It's just if I'm drawing work for me, it's probably not going to be not safe for work. But I have no problem drawing it, and I totally have. Warning for anybody that goes to, like, my FA page, there's naughty stuff on it. So
Husband drawing dicks!
Just forewarning you. But yeah, I agree with that point that you can get a lot more. I think you can get a lot more done without just making it just pure porn. But at the same time, whatever. Like, people like what they like, and I don't have a problem providing that. So
I'm going to be truthful. I can't remember if I made this picture up in my mind or if I pulled it from another source and I just kind of imagined it. But I think I remember seeing like a 20s, 30s picture that it shows a pinup girl. She's in a one-piece bathing suit, but the back itself is open and the pant section of it is still somewhat there. And there's a puppy that's grabbing at the back end of her swimsuit.
You're thinking
and
of
so
a lotion bottle, aren't you?
I don't know. Was it the lotion bottle?
Yeah, pretty sure it was a little girl.
Yeah.
And her
No.
there.
This was a pinup version of it. It wasn't the
Oh,
little
was
girl
it?
because that's no. No, this was like a 20 or 30-year-old female. She had bits and everything, but it wasn't drawn out. But she had a dog that was pulling at the back end of it, and she was doing
I've seen that.
She's doing the whole hand over her mouth, but her mouth is still
like,
seen.
oh no.
Yeah.
I've seen that piece. Yeah, there is a actual pinup of that.
That's what I thought.
In addition to the
The lotion
suntan
bottle.
lotion. Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know which. I'm assuming one of them is like a reference to the other, so or it's just a coincidence. But yeah, I've seen that piece because a lot of like the vintage pinups like that have to do with oh no, my clothes are coming off in this humorous way. Like I got my pants stuck in my dress stuck in the stove.
Yeah,
oh
they're
no,
like what Bob Ross would say, happy little accidents.
happy accidents. Yeah.
So something we like to do with the show, once we've seen a lot of your art and we've seen what the finished product is, we want to kind of delve in about how you approach some of your different projects, whether how you used to approach it or how you currently approach it. So what we asked you before the show is if you could have a piece that you would be able to dissect and show us the process from start to finish about how you came up with a concept, how you would go about the line art. And I was waiting for that particular slide to show up. We decided that we would see about looking at your absinthe rabbit.
Yeah.
So I am going to put your screen now on the screen so that you have full control of what we're going to see now.
Oh, I'm in charge.
Yeah, you are in charge now. So take us through your process, your method to draw this.
All right. Well, I guess I'll start with hiding a bunch of layers. I use a bunch of layers.
Oh, yeah. And I can already hear a lot of the people who do like organizing their stuff screaming at seeing numbers on the layers instead of words.
Hey, they're all in groups, so I have that.
Absolutely. I make the joke all the time that, it doesn't matter what the layers say as long as you understand it and you know what they do.
Yeah, well, I hopefully know what they do. Like this layer, I'm not sure is anything. Oh, no, that is something. There it goes. It moves.
For everyone who's maybe seeing the screen and seeing it kind of flip back and forth from full screen to Photoshop itself, it's the way that the capture kind of does things. So apologies if it looks like it's annoying, but it's the way that the capture is capturing it. So I apologize for that. But nonetheless, though, we'll get through this and she'll show exactly how her process goes through. So while you're doing that, let's see here.
Yeah.
The non-furry furry decided to take a go and to go see your stuff. She says, or he says, well, they say, I don't know if it's male or female. I'm not going to judge or presume. Not sure about the NSFW, but I found tons of badges.
Yes. I do a lot of badges.
Indeed. Let's see.
Lot.
Splattercat has a question. Do you think not drawing NSFW content lends NSFW a gravitas as you're inadvertently taking a stance saying it is not normal to see this? Or are you implying that nudity, visceral, etc., in something that would be wrong to show?
Or would otherwise detract from your work?
That's a lot going on in that question. Okay.
I think what he's trying to say is like, do you think that by your stance of preferring SFW that it detracts from the NSFW audience, or that you're doing more by having it SFW?
I don't think, well, I mean, I said I prefer to draw it, and I think you can do a lot with safer work stuff. That maybe when you're doing not safer work, the naughty part of it is what's going to come across. So I don't think that my stance is completely NSFW wrong. So I'm not sure I don't think I have a strong enough stance to support the idea that NSFW is a negative thing. I don't necessarily think if artists choose not to draw naughty stuff that they are saying that it's necessarily wrong. I think they're just saying that I don't want to draw it. Mm-hmm. And everybody's allowed to draw what they want to draw. And they don't have to draw things that they don't want. And I think there's room enough in this world for all of us to draw what we want to draw and look at what we want to look at.
Absolutely.
So, and, even a smaller scale, I think the furry fandom's big enough to include people who want to do one thing and see one thing and, do something else and see another thing. So,
considering the vast swaths of art, both in the furry fandom to just comic fandom in general to other things, there's basically anything for everyone. And the best thing about the community, because it's very communal, is that you can literally find an artist who likes doing whatever you like to do, and then be able to customize it to your liking, so that if you want something safer work, you want something that's a little bit more naughty, all you have to do is just look around and shop around, and you can absolutely get it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's wonderful, and I think that's how it should be. So, yeah.
Fleety stated his opinion on the subject. He says, not safe for work for me as an artist comes down to what in the future do I hope to commission from? If it's a mundane audience, not safe for work is a coffin nail in commission prospects or being known beyond some genres.
I used to feel that way, that if I drew anything naughty and I got a real job, quote unquote, it could affect me. So like I started out with having 2 separate galleries and keeping it, really separate. And
have
then
one
I was
tasteful,
like,
have one not so tasteful.
Right.
Right.
But I was like, you know what? This is what I draw, and I'm okay with drawing this. And if anyone's going to hire me, they're going to be okay with it. Gotcha. And maybe I won't be able to work at Disney, but do I want to work at Disney? That
is a good way to look at it, yes.
But I think a lot of that mindset comes from the fact that, like, I have tattoos and piercings. So I was like, well, am I going to want to work somewhere where I can't look the way that I want to look? So am I going to want to work somewhere where I can't draw the things that I want to draw? And I understand that can be limiting for some people, for their prospects. And I'm just lucky that I ended up being able to work for myself. So it just became a non-issue.
Very good. Fleety says that is a very honest and open answer and that he likes it. So you have approval points. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Good.
Gold star.
What are we looking at now? It seems that you've watered everything down to, I take it this is a traditional medium that you started with?
Yes, this actually started as a human sketch, which I rarely draw humans. And because my original intention was to try to do more human art. So I was like, well, what if I draw, some human pinups? So I actually drew this in my sketchbook at one point in time, and it sat there for like a year. Until I was like, I think this is a great sketch. And I brought it into Photoshop and sketched over it with my bunny. So like I started there, and then I did the background in a different like grouping down here. So
now, when you started coming up with the picture for the lady, I take it when you started with her, you draw her as a human. Did you already have the intent of creating her as an anthro, or did you did that come after a natural course of events?
I had no intention of making her an anthro at all. My intention was 100% to have a human picture, because I actually drew her because I had just come back from Dragon Con and I saw somebody that had all these gorgeous pinups, and I was like, I want to do this. This is what I want to do. I want to sell at Dragon Con, and I don't know if my animals will be able to sell. So I came home and I was like, humans are the way to go now. And I sketched her. And like I said, she sat in my sketchbook for probably a year. And I didn't draw any other humans within that year. So when I decided to start on my Booze Babes project, I rediscovered this sketch that I already had. And I was like, well, this is awesome. Thanks, me.
So it's a tasteful way of repurposing your art.
Yeah, right. And I think that's, great. I mean, I already had the sketch. And, you can see some spots, like things were changed when I brought her in digitally. A lot was just straight up traced over from my original sketch, which is actually something I do quite a bit in my art. I do still use a traditional sketchbook. It's just what I always have done. And I can take it anywhere, and I don't need power. I can take it in the car. And so I have a lot of traditional sketches that eventually became digital works, and I like to think of them as like my first draft. A lot of times I'll bring them in digitally, and they get much more changes than this one did. This one only seemed to really be some things with the glass and like her little bottom tendril things from the wings. But some of them, like their whole pose changes because the original one was just so wrong because of, I was holding my sketchbook at an angle, so I thought it looked right. And I know I've seen other artists that'll do a sketch and then they'll go over that sketch again and then go over it again to like really keep refining it. And for me, doing the traditional one first is that like initial sketch. So
well, I would continue on with the topic, but it seems that I have to make an exception for this because, Mel, you have been found out. The non-furry furry says, well, what do we have here? It seems that Meld is a big fan of ska. What's your favorite band?
Oh no. I would say, oh man, this is going to be like a really, really big determining factor on whether you like me or not.
Hey, you like ska. You're in my book anyway, so you're fine.
Yeah. I would say right now I've been getting really big into Mustard Plug.
Mustard Plug?
Yeah. They're not one that was really on my radar when I started getting into ska, and now I'm like, Mustard Plug.
The enthusiasm, I love it.
Yeah.
Mustard Plug!
Really Fish is another big favorite of mine.
Fuck everything! Mustard Plug!
Yes!
Very nice, very nice. So now that we've gone from the root picture and the adaptation from a planner to anthro, what are we getting right now?
So I just showed my ink layer layers. I have lots of ink layers. So what I would do then is start inking. I bring up my sketch layer, and then I would lower the opacity a whole lot and ink over it. And thankfully nowadays Photoshop has a built-in smoothing tool, so the line work is a lot smoother than it would otherwise be. So that's awesome.
While you were doing this, did you ever find yourself, like, obviously in this picture, there's not too much of changes that you needed to do. And I know you expressed earlier that there's other pieces where you've made vast changes. But with this piece, while you were adapting it, was there anything that kind of took you by surprise while you were adapting it for your lagomorph, another word for rabbit?
getting her head to not be too massive. Because anthros, I feel like inherently lend themselves to having bigger faces and bigger heads than humans.
Indeed.
So
I've seen that.
yeah, and that's something I struggled with early on, was like bobblehead syndrome on all my art. And it's something that I actually, when I sketch digitally, and a lot of times when I go in to edit things, I'm actually having to select the head and shrink it down. Or when I sketch digitally, I just draw it on a separate layer. Like all those badges that you see, the head is sketched completely on a separate layer so I can edit it separately if I need to.
I've heard some other artists who describe what you've said as accidental chibization.
That's a nice way to put it, but I mean, I just think they're bobbleheads. They're just, yeah.
Sidebar, Divine Zero, who, by the way, has decided to host us on his channel. Thanks so much for that hosting. That's awesome. He says, I was expecting Streetlight Manifesto, to be honest, but fair enough.
I love Streetlight, and I've seen them a lot of times, but they're not my favorite anymore. I actually liked Catch-22 better prior to the whole problems between those bands.
Hey, as long as we don't have a Zoot Suit Riot in here, I'll be okay. And that's like the farthest thing from ska itself. But hey, you know, that's too mainstream. So, we've gone from your line art now to where you started doing flat coloring, I take it?
Yeah. I don't know if you guys want to talk more about the line art or anything.
Oh, no, it's fine. I mean, if there's anything, like, maybe you felt that revelatory while you were doing it, or what decided the factor that it was done and then you moved on to the next thing?
Well, I can zoom in and show you a little bit with like the line art, what I talked about earlier with the lines, and then like the dots that now have turned into dashes.
Yes.
Here. So, you can see there's quite a bit of it, you know, and all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
But I figure I would go ahead and show the flat colors, because I always do flat colors first. Like as soon as my line art is done, I do my flat colors. And one of the things that I do that I don't know if a lot of other artists do, I actually, you can see as I hide some layers, you can see that there's this black underlayer.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that I don't know if other artists do. I've never seen it, but I do it as a way to like, because as a way to do my flat coloring, when I do it, I select it and just bucket tool to just fill in each section. And I found that there's like the little tiny, you know, spots where you can still see some of the white because it doesn't get fully filled. But if I completely fill everything with black, it fills in all of those little pesky crevices that I don't want to have to go back and hand fill myself.
So basically you use it as a quality assurance tool for yourself to make sure that you have all the connections and that you haven't left anything out.
Right.
That's really smart.
I've seen similar methods employed. Some people will do similar to what you do, but they'll actually, when they start doing the flat colors, they won't start with the colors that they're actually wanting to do. They'll actually make the fur color like an exotic color like pink. Then they'll make an accent like yellow. They'll make another area blue. They'll purposely make it as gaudy as possible so that they know where each line is divided at, and then they'll start tuning the colors to match things.
Yeah. Sorry, my cats are getting into things.
I totally understand.
Our animals do the same thing.
Yeah, our pup is being a bit pesky as well.
Ah. Okay. Why? Bad kitties.
Everything okay?
Oh yeah, no, it's fine. I thought they would be good, and now they're like, oh no, it's time to be bad.
Oh, well,
and
it's starting to become their daytime. Go figure.
So
it's okay. That's fine.
All right.
We'll
so anyway,
delve a little bit longer in this, and then we'll take a little break. But yeah. So we have your flat colors now. What for you in the process is the next step?
So my next step would be shading, and I do all my shading on clipping masks. For every single flat color is a separate layer, so I can just go in and clip all of my shadows.
And if I recall correctly, a clipping mask is a layer that is only affected by the layer it's attached to.
Yes.
So
if
you could
see
literally
over here,
draw one line, and instead of it going all over the canvas, it will only peek at the areas that it's highlighted, like the tips of the ears or something.
Right. So like, the wings and the stole that she has here are both on the same layer, and you can see where if I highlight these couple layers here, the changes. So I think the big stuff is like up here, where like I didn't want to get it into like the feather. So with the clipping mask, I don't even have to think about it. So a lot of my art is about the ease of making it easier on me. It's lazy art.
I can understand how you might portray it as lazy art, but I honestly think that's more smart than lazy.
I guess.
That's my opinion. Phoebe says you do what's called priming in your flat color.
Priming?
Priming.
I don't know what that is.
Or priming. Maybe I read it wrong.
I don't know what that is.
That's okay. I'm sure he'll detail what he means with that in a later comment, but that's okay. So we've gotten your shading down. Now with shading for you, it looks like your shading, you try to keep the shading fairly subtle as opposed to being very dynamic. Splattercat is very dynamic, where he uses a dark shade, and then he'll use a darker shade, and then he'll use flat black to really highlight the areas that aren't being touched by light, and also obscured from receiving light.
Yeah, I actually really try to avoid using black in my shading. Now it's different when I do like my tattoo work, like my the animal people that, or not animal people, but the animals that I think were on earlier. With those I do shade with black because that's part of the American tattoo style.
Yes.
But when it comes to this kind of stuff, I don't like to do flat black because I think it covers up my line work, and I find my line work, I think it's really important to my style. So I try to shade with just something really dark that's not black.
Just enough to give it contrast then.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
And I have a specific brush that I like to use that actually I downloaded ages ago, but it's supposed to mimic Copic markers, which is one of those things that, like, that was my tool before I switched to digital. So,
we haven't talked too much about brushes and stuff. I know, like, Adobe has a lot of flexibility with different brushes and sponges and things in order to portray the lines and stuff. How often do you actually manipulate your brush itself?
I don't really. I use my Copic brush here, and I'll change, like, do I want it to do the pressure effects? Do I want it to go smaller with pressure? Or I'll change the opacity of it to get lighter stuff so I don't have to, have such a soft hand. But I don't really go in and mess with all of these, effects that you can do. But that's also why I download brushes, so I don't have to do all that. Right.
Why you don't necessarily have to design a brush. Oh my goodness, my stuttering today. You don't have to necessarily design a brush in order to create or to use an effective brush, especially if one meets the needs of what you're trying to do.
Right.
I know Jazza has created, manipulated, tweaked, and actually set out a bunch of different brushes that he uses for different art styles that he conveys. But not every bardist, well, I mean, technically you would be a bardist, but not every bardist is necessary of needing all those tools. Sometimes you just need a knife for what a knife does. Other times you might need an entire tool belt in order to get done with what you're trying to portray.
Yeah. And, like, here on my on my brushes over here, I actually have mine separated out with like, these are the top 3 that I use. You know, just the regular basic round hard brush is what I use for my inking. And then, you know, I have this Copic brush that I use for my shading. This brush here is the one that I use on all my badges for the name section. And then I have other brushes that I like that I've downloaded, and then just other brushes that I don't use often, but I have.
To just experiment with, I take it.
Right. Because I'd like to do more like background design and stuff. That's something that I don't do very well, I don't think. It's something I really want to try to learn more of. So I have all these brushes in preparation for when I, you know, try to learn how to do it.
Splattercat says, I'm far too intimidated by brushes and the possibilities. Rather make my pen tool do what it can.
Do you have any recommendations regarding that? Excuse me.
There's a brush set that you can get through Photoshop. It might be like Alex somebody. I don't remember exactly, but it's like if you go look at brushes on Adobe's website, it's like the first brush set that's up there. And a lot of those are similar to what I have. My brushes, I'm going to be honest, I downloaded on DeviantArt a long time ago, and I have no idea where they came from.
Gotcha.
But DeviantArt has a lot of free brushes on them.
DeviantArt, and then I think there's another place, same place where you can get some text samples as well. They've got a lot of stuff. So I see we did the shading, and then you clicked on your highlights and stuff. Talk to us about your highlighting process.
So this is something that I think is really important in my art and makes it really pop, is this adding this low light highlight little detailing. And I actually do it on a clipping mask on my entire color section here. So I don't have to worry about going out of the lines. And I just, where like I look at my piece, you know, without it, and I'm like, well, that looks good. This is just, it makes it pop.
Absolutely.
And it's something I picked up. I saw another artist's work where they use more dynamic colors. I just use straight white. I started doing it traditionally with a pencil, with just my white pencil. And I've continued using it in digital art. Now I play around more with colors sometimes, but I don't know. It's something I've seen. You see it a lot in tattoo work where they'll like leave a white border or a, you know, empty border around the edge. And I'm not sure if I picked it up from tattooing or if I just straight up learned it from another artist who was like, you should do this. And I was like, all right, I'll do that.
It's kind of similar to when I learned about the adding the white or light. Actually, I told Spirey, this is back when I was in college, I said, Spirey, I have an idea and I want to do it this way, but I'm going to need your help because I suck at drawing, right?
You don't.
So I told her, can you make chibi versions of us? Just the line art, and then I'm going to color it, and I want to show you this technique that I saw using these particular layers. And she agreed. She drew it. I know we have the picture somewhere, but I know we can't dig it up right now. We'll probably toss it in post to show it, and then we'll show you after the program itself. But I don't remember exactly how it's done now, but I taught it to Spirey, and she uses it almost on all of her art now. But basically, you can use white, and then you can also blend certain colors and gradations into the highlighting to give it context of the outer light. So it's not just white, but it's almost occluded because it's part of the color of the background itself while still highlighting it.
Right, and that's a natural thing, is the reflected light. And that's what the white is supposed to mimic in my work. But just stylistically, I choose to use white most of the time. But yeah, a lot of artists use, you know, the reflected light as a way to really make their art pop. And I do that sometimes. I don't think I did it in this piece, but sometimes like I would do like where the green here is in the absinthe, I would maybe have some green on, some green here on her leg where it's reflecting off. So it definitely is a huge tool to use in your art.
And
That's often overlooked.
Speaking of tools, Fleety mentions that he uses G-pen, mechanical pencil, and spray paint as his 4 main ones, with Clip Studio Paint. And the turnip pen.
Turnip pen.
Not sure what that is.
Turnip pen. I think it's another add-on for the way he does his lining.
Huh.
And Splattercat says that he's made a draft brush, and a pen that's slightly changed from default, and a cloud brush. But every time he uses it, he feels that. I'm not sure what that was in reference for.
So he uses a cloud brush, but he changes it every time that he uses it. So it's never the same default setting. It applies based on the medium that he's doing it. And turnip pen, clarification from Fleety, it's a very fat Japanese style ink pen. I think that's used in calligraphy.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, it's a Clip Studio is one of those programs that I've downloaded and haven't played around with yet, so I'm not super familiar with what it has available in it.
So,
I have...
Sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to
I was going to say, I have dabbled in a little bit with making my own brushes. Actually, one of the big things that I did that I think is pretty cool is make my logo and signature as a brush.
Oh.
So, I'm not sure if many artists do it, but you can see my logo and signature stuff. But yeah, I've made it to a brush, and I can just, well, you can't see it there, but yeah, you gonna do it?
Very cool.
There we go. Yeah, so boop. It makes it super simple for me to just slap it on in there.
Yeah, you can literally copy a brush as an image of something else and use it however you want, and you can just use it as like a stamp.
Yeah.
Let's see here. The non-furry furry says, I've noticed that a lot of artists that come from a traditional background usually got quite structured line work that usually plays into their digital pieces, while others that jump ship directly into digital and eventually master it go no more for a lineless piece. Do you find it hard to make digital lineless pieces?
Yes. It's something I'm still struggling with. I'd like to try to do more painterly digital painting. But like my brain just thinks, all right, I have to do my sketching and then my inking and then my coloring.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, how do I do this without the inking stage? I don't understand. This does not compute.
Yeah. So last question before we go to the break, and it's going to be a challenging question, so be honest. Which was harder, the absinthe or the bunny?
The absinthe.
The absinthe was harder?
To get the coloring right, and look like it's inside of the glass, I think. And I'm not sure if now looking at it now, I don't know how successful I was. But I definitely think that it's so hard to be able to see through something that's transparent and make it look like there's something inside of it. Mm-hmm. And then technically you can see through absinthe too, depending on what you do with it. So, the bunny was just another bunny.
Too true. A unique own bunny that you have there, but yeah, it is just another bunny for sure. Well then, thank you so much for showing us your methods and your methods to creating through your art style. It's very, very, very insightful, and a lot of people have likely learned something new that they can probably carry on in their own images. That said, what we're going to do is we're going to take ourselves a 5-minute little break so that we can get some water, take care of anything else that you need to take care of on your side for pesky little animals, you know.
Yeah, I'm going to lock them out.
Indeed.
Oops.
So we'll take about a 5-minute little break. We'll come back and then we'll start the fun part of the show, the challenges. So we will see you all here in just a minute. By all means, keep up with your chats. Thank you all. Also, we're up to 14 viewers now. This is the max that we've had before. Thank you all so much for doing that. If you like what you're seeing, down below the Twitch link here, you can find our Discord where you can find out when we're doing uploads, when we're also setting up the YouTube channel of the content after we post-edit it.
And if you have any art to submit, we've got a Dropbox link down below as well.
We love fan art. So if something through our discussion here inspires you to try something that maybe Spider-Cat or Meld or Fleety or anyone else talks about, and you want to show it off as a means of your learning, or maybe I said something stupid and it inspired you to make a picture of that, we would love to do a whole episode just on fan art. I would easily spend 2 hours.
We can always insert a little blurb with your featured art.
Yeah, absolutely. And then also, if you are an artist and you want to take part of like an interview like this, again, join our Discord down below. There's a link below that you can join up into, and we would love to have you on the show to show off your own little collage of stuff.
Absolutely.
We will be back in about 5 minutes. See you back in just a little while.
Tomorrow's Today, a visual podcast for art, comedy, and experimental fun stuff.
I'm the Dox Fox, and I'm not going to make a stupid rhyme this time, but I'm not apologizing either.
And I'm the Spy Fry, and I don't have anything to apologize for.
Exactly.
And we are with...
Meld.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good show so far. Good show. So something we forgot to do while we were prior to the break, and that we're going to do now is we are going to highlight both where you started and where you are now to your peak, as it were. When you started showing off your art to other people and starting to get a name for yourself, to where you feel that you're most established and what art exhibits the preciseness of your skill currently. So what we have right now is this horse in a teacup.
That's a dragon.
Oh, that's a dragon.
That really shows you how old that is. Ooh.
Yes. So this is one of your traditional arts that you've done.
Yes.
And what's the story behind it?
So that was when I first, like I mentioned before, I first found the furry fandom and started taking my art seriously at the same time. This was one of my very first pieces I did at that moment. This was, I think, the second picture I drew of my character. And it's really when I was I'm going to do art. So it's, yeah, I think it just shows, really how much it can change. Mm-hmm. Even if you have dragons that look like horses.
I mean, it shows, sure, there's a lot of things that are off about it that you were mentioning earlier before. Like, some of the proportions are off. The arms are really skinny. The torso, you can tell it was maybe, tilted a little bit. And
it's all...
Yeah.
Yeah, all kinds of problems.
It almost looks like the handle is almost diagonal to the cup rather than being straight up the cup.
Oh yeah, yep, I'm sure. It's all just very, the cup is not even circular. Mm-hmm. So that was pre any art school. It's all just based on what I had grown up drawing. Mm-hmm. And at the time I was really big into colored pencils. It's before I had gotten into Copic markers and any other kind of media. I just had a nice set of colored pencils I had had since I was 15. And
I think Fleety also mentioned that he liked drawing the colored pencils previously.
Oh yeah, he would grab with it. The way he stated it was that if he could get his hands on it, he would color with it. So it was colored pencils, crayons, the whole kit and caboodle, as it were. If it was a medium of which he could use, then he would doodle with it, because he just was a young strapping boy learning his trade and just having fun with it. Mm-hmm.
And I will say I took myself more seriously. I think that's wonderful and definitely the correct way to go about it. I did not. I was I'm going to use these high-end colored pencils because I'm a real artist. I was really full of myself.
I mean, pretentiousness does have its spot. It's a way of getting your self-confidence up for sure. It's a definite sign that your confidence is growing.
Right. And I think it's important to have a bit of an ego as an artist. You need to be able to learn from your mistakes and improve upon them. You can't think that everything you draw is the best thing ever, forever. But I was too egotistical.
Indeed. But this just goes to show that you can go from like a fairly rocky spot where you're still proud of your work back then to going rocky mode, having your own little montage of talking about how you're the best around and no one's going to ever keep you down. And then soon enough, with all that practice, the determination, or wait, should I do it the Undertale way of you're filled with
determination,
and then you suddenly whip out something like what we're about to show you right now. So the next piece that you have is what you consider your pinnacle, and this is your dragon. I suppose it's part tattoo, part animic, and it's got the scroll going on. I can't quite read it from my position right here, but it says something like, "Come, gentlemen, I hope we shall drink down all unkindness."
Yep, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Very good.
Yep, that's a quote from Shakespeare.
Ah.
So I wanted to do a beer-themed piece because you probably saw my artwork that had all different alcohol. It's my booze base, but beer is my one of choice. So,
okay, controversial thing. Are you a pale ale? Are you a golden ale? Are you a red? Are you a stout? Or are you, what's the other one? Or like a effervescent?
I like stouts and porters, and I like IPAs that are so hoppy they punch you in the face.
Oh, okay. You're cool up until the IPA part.
He's a stout man.
Well, I'm not just a stout man. I like my red ales. I like certain golden ales. I don't like getting too light with certain beers, and I do like some stouts. Some of it can just be a little bit too dry, but the IPAs, I mean, for me, IPAs are great for getting drunk if you don't care about flavor.
Oh, see, I like the flavor.
It's just I don't mind being a part of nature, but when you're drinking a spruce tree, it's just a little bit out of my territory right there.
Non-furry asked, "Is it a ska thing?"
A ska thing.
And I'm getting remediated by Rainiel saying that I'm wrong and that I have the absolute worst opinion on IPAs. He didn't say it in that fashion, but I know that's what he means, and that's fine. I'll just tell him to suck eggs, pal.
Ooh.
What was the? I mean, aside. Okay, I had two things I was going to say, so let me try and process those first before I lose either of them.
You mind?
Spirey, this is a perfect example of having both history, boobs, and beer in the same single picture.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And number two, what was the motive for this picture? Was this just like a fun little piece that you wanted to do, or was it a commission? Was it an idea that you had and you finally decided to act on, or what?
Well, it's my character, and I just want to do something, fun and beer themed, really, and trying to join together tattoo art and, I mean, it's not super pin-uppy, but kind of doing both together.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I'm not really super inspiration outside of that. I want to draw myself with a beer and a quote.
What would you say has been the hardest part transitioning from that older style into what you have now?
Learning how to use digital medium. That was really hard for me and took me a really long time. It was one of those things that, like, I had a tablet for a long time, and I just kept trying it, and it just wasn't working, so I kept putting it down for a few years, and then it just one day just clicked, and I was like, oh, well, this makes sense now. But
so instead of it becoming a tool, it became an extension to you. I was going to ask if you like were just learning first drawing with the mouse, or if you immediately went the tablet route.
Immediately tablet. I would never suggest anybody draws with a mouse if they don't have to. In fact, I would say if you want to draw digitally, you need to get a tablet. And if you don't have the funds to do it, you should just do traditional art until you do. Because I think drawing with a mouse is so counterintuitive to how we draw, and how people can produce art, that I think you're going to learn something and then completely have to learn something else.
So for me, as I've come to find out, and I found this out through my own transition of learning how to draw stuff, even though I still can't draw. I originally picked up a bamboo tablet with the intent
That's what I
of
had.
learning to master it, right? So I started with that, and I was doing all right. I made a couple graphic designs with it, but I never felt it really latching on to me. I got the gestures and I got the motions of it, but it didn't. I never really found a connection to it. Some years later on, I went to the Adobe Cloud convention out in Las Vegas at the convention center out there. And it just so happened that during that convention, Microsoft was trying to break Apple's market of being so dominated with the art programs that they decided to take the feedback that they had from their first model, and they gave out to every single person in participation a free Surface 2. So I literally received an $800 Surface Pro 2 tablet with its own little pen and everything, and like since then I've only felt like I've drawn decently well seeing the feedback as I draw it without having to look at two different areas.
And that's something I hear a lot that people say they struggle with when getting into digital is I have to draw now in my lap or on my desk and I'm looking up at the screen. And that's something that took me a really long time. That was one of the most difficult things. And when I first started out, I had the opportunity to try an old Cintiq or knockoff Cintiq, you know, now 10 years ago. I had the opportunity and I hated it. I hated it so much because there was a slight lag from where my pen was touching the screen to where the line was actually drawing. And
I see the delay.
Yeah, and my brain was thinking, this is traditional, but my eyes are seeing not traditional. It's seeing this lag, and I'm just like, I can't handle this. So there probably is still a delay drawing on my tablet and looking at my screen, but I don't see it the same way as traditional where I expect the line to be perfect right there.
Gotcha. Well, the chat has devolved into talking about Maker's Mark whiskey now. Which, I'm not going to lie, that's like one of my favorite whiskeys too. Or bourbons, or I'm blanking on exactly what it is. So that just means that I'm no longer clout with alcohol. And I'll accept that for now. Your brain farts happen. But I think we're at the point now where it's time to actually start flexing them drawing muscles. I think you're in agreement.
Oh boy.
So what we're going to do
this.
is we're going to start with the game that we usually start right from the get-go, and that's going to be the 10-minute, 1-minute, 10-second challenge. Now, for any of those who have not seen this or have not seen the show before, the 10-minute, 1-minute, 10-second challenge is an exercise in understanding your subject and understanding how to refine it at quicker and quicker intervals. And Spirey is going to participate in this as well, so we'll see about transitioning the screens here in a minute. But on top of that, too, I know that Meld is currently looking at the second part of the game that we're going to do. You're actually going to use a blank slate for this, and you're going to want 3 layers.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
While you're getting that set up, Splattercat says, I've heard a lot of people struggling moving to traditional onto a tabletop tablet. One complaint that I've heard was that a lack of resistance would play a part of it. Also, to anyone with this issue, check out the stabilizer settings. It causes your cursor to lag behind when you draw, making artificial resistance.
I had that problem also when I've drawn on, like, recently I got a chance to draw on a friend's iPad, and the screen being the slick screen really bothered me. I've heard you can get, like, sticky things to put on to make it feel more like paper, and that's definitely was an issue I had also with switching to digital, was it didn't feel the same. But yeah, the smoothing tool is a fantastic tool if you're feeling like you're having issues with trying to get your lines nice and stuff, because it's different from physically touching the paper.
There's that too, and there's also different tools that will manipulate the stroke that you do while you do the stroke to help keep it from being unkempt or over analyzing what your stroke is. What's that tool that you're using, Emmy?
I have been using Lazy Nozumi.
Lazy Nozumi. And it basically, when you make a stroke, it kind of turns it into like a vector. And it straightens out the well, it doesn't straighten it out, but it cleans it up.
It turns it into a vector, but it does help to clean it up a little bit.
Right. Well, it doesn't turn. I'm sorry. It doesn't turn it into a vector, but it has a vector-like effect to where the line is a lot cleaner and more consistent with the pressure that's applied.
Yes.
So Photoshop has that now built in.
Oh, cool.
It's just called smoothing. And you can set the percentage you want, and it'll slow down your line and force it to be more smooth. I don't know about older versions, but the newest, the CC version, has that built in.
Very nice. Actually, they have another tool that's context friendly, so that you can actually pick a subject, and then it'll automatically remove all bits of the background for it, and still leave tiny details like hair and hair tinders at the very end of it, without getting lost in pixely. So I forget exactly what it was, but Markiplier showed me in one of his videos in the Unis Honest things, and I was like, "Oh, where has that been all my life?" So, okay, now that we've got that, let's see about switching over to our dual screens. Here we are. And no, Rainiel, Lazy Nozumi is not an anime. I mean, if it is an anime, then it happens to have that, and maybe this was inspired by that. But either way, this is not what... I don't think that's what this tool was meant for. Either way. So, the 10-minute, 1-minute, 10-second challenge. The rules is that you're only going to use your pen tool. Okay, or your brush tool, rather, your brush tool. I'm going to come up with a subject. We can do this one of two ways. I can either create two different subjects for you, or I can have you both create the same subject, and you just have different renditions about how you portray it. I'll let the guest decide this, if you want to have two different, or if you want to have one individual that you both are trying to portray.
I think it's fun to see how two different artists go about the same concept.
There you go. All right, so we'll do one subject.
Sounds good.
Okay, so for the 10-minute one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you the subject. I'm going to give you a 2-minute head start, and the 2-minute head start is where you can put down your light structure lines to create form, but you can't do any fine details or line work, just skeletal things to help you figure out what your subject's going to be, look. And once the 2 minutes is up, you will then switch to full opacity and start making your line works. You can erase, you can Control-Z, you can do whatever you need to, but it's got to be dark lines. And you will have 10 minutes to complete as much of the subject as you can. A tip for this is that while you do want to keep all of the details from the subject, remember that you need to be accepting of giving up some of the details when it gets to the 1 minute and especially the 10-second challenge. So try to keep that in mind for your later endeavors. That's how I was able to get Chongert working. And that's the only reason why Chongert succeeded, outside of him just being a derp character. So, let's see what we are going to have for your subject. That is the wrong button. There we go. Okay. So, for your subject... Oh, I like this. Okay. Your subject is going to be a magical girl that glows who's wearing a magical amulet. Your 2-minute start begins now. 2 minutes to start fleshing out your character. It's going to be a magical girl that glows who is wearing a magical amulet. While these lovely ladies are starting to flesh out their ideas, if you want to participate at home and see about doing something yourself within this 10-1-10 challenge, again, we would love to see it. Just put a little header on it. We'll accept JPEGs and we'll accept PNGs. Try to keep the size down if possible. Don't send us PSDs. Don't send us full files of all the different layers. Don't send us GIFs. Don't send us videos. we do have a Dropbox, but we're not paying for it, so we have limited space. We want to try and incorporate as much people's fan art as possible, but we do implore you to give it a try and give us your own spin and take on these different challenges. That's half the fun of it. Ladies, you have 1 minute left with your sketch lines. That also said, again, I'll plug our Discord. You can find that below. If you have ideas for the show or artists that you'd like to see included, we also have our input on the right side underneath the stream here. You're more than welcome to utilize that, and if it's approved, you'll see, hey, this has been approved. Additionally, we like to play games and do some other stuff too. We're actually going to see about setting up a show next week on Thursday where, if we're lucky, we can have all of our artist friends come back, and then we'll have 2 hours of competition. And we'll see who is the survivor of all the different games that we'll play. Everything from TKO to the 10-1-10 challenge, and then something a little bit more saucy that we haven't done yet on the show, and only I know. So we'll see how that goes. In the meantime, we have 5 seconds, 4 seconds, 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1, and stop. Everybody stop what you're doing. We are going to begin the 15-minute cycle here in just a minute. So take a breath, shake it out, do what you got to do. So far, it looks like we got some interesting looks here. So, all right, 15 minutes begins right now. So 15 minutes. As I said, with all the guests and all the audience members and stuff, by all means, give this a shot. Let us know what you think. I will still comment on the stuff that's going on in the chat. Let's see here. Divine Zero says, Amulet of Eternal Glory. Wolfsinger says, sends in a stick figure. Rainiola says that he will also send in a stick figure, agreeing with Wolfsinger. I mean, you know, stick figures are fine. I keep reverting to, hey, if stick figures can get themselves famous from all the different fighting videos, especially like the Matrix-like fight stuffs, then, you know, stick figure away. Whatever it takes. Oh, you know what? I just realized I gave you 15 minutes. I meant to give you 10 minutes because that's the whole point of the 10-minute challenge. So you guys got yourself a little bit free extra time. 10 minutes starts now. Keep going.
Oh, man.
I know.
Are we
You got a
lucky?
few free seconds. I know, right? Gosh. So, judging from what I'm seeing right here, it looks like at the moment, Meld has more line work down, but it looks like Spirey's got a bit more complexity going on. So this is interesting to see how you two both approach it. Nothing new from the chat just yet. What else do we have going on? We do have some musical guests that are coming up. We also have Katniss as our guest for next week on Tuesday. We'll be setting her up for her show. And I'm going to be speaking with a few other people who are musicians to see if we can get them on the show the week after that particular show. It's going to take a little bit of extra prep work, but I'm going to see what I can do. I'm probably going to be on location in order to set that up. But if you know any artist friends, or if you are an artist and you would like to see about joining the show, participate, and show off your work, we do plug your commissions, we plug your websites, we plug your other stuff that you would like to be noted, Instagrams, whichever. And, you know, you also get to become a special guest inside of our Discord, which is located below, and partake in all the different fun activities that we do occasionally when I feel like it, I suppose. And Divine Zero says, loud applause from the back. I wonder if it's like a competition claps of like who's doing better. I like the aesthetic that Spirey's going for, and not just because she's my wife. I mean, it's actually got a neat little form to it. Whereas with Meld, I can definitely tell that she's getting the figure down. I think from my perspective, what I understand is she's getting the form down, and then she's going to adjust it as time comes available. So two totally different approaches. It's great to see this variety for sure. The subject, for those who are asking, is, or maybe did not catch it the first time I said it, or the second, or the third, or fourth, is that we have a girl with a magic amulet. That is the subject. So what else do we have? Spire, what's your process about what you're trying to go for right now? What's in your mind right now as we're
Trying to simplify most things.
simplify your?
Because I get very meticulous with things.
You do.
And I figure that if I try not to overthink it, I'll be able to get it down a bit faster.
That does tend to help. That's for sure. How about you, Mel? What's going on in your mind right now with what you're digging through?
Absolute panic.
Absolute panic. Oh, that
I
sounds like
hear
Spirey
you.
her first time.
Yeah.
Well, I will tell you this much. I was supposed to tell you at the 8-minute mark, but you're well past that 8-minute mark.
Oh dear.
Oh boy.
I'll make sure to say the next segment correctly and not get distracted by what's going on. Rainiel agrees with your sentiment of absolute panic, perhaps the truest motivator. That is absolutely correct. Oh, yes, and the non-furry furry corrects me. That glows. The little girl that glows with the amulet. That's what it is, yes.
Oh yeah, she's supposed to glow.
She's
Thanks for the
supposed to glow.
reminder.
Yeah, you're welcome. By the way, you are at the 6-minute mark. As in you have 6 minutes left, not that you have 6 minutes have passed. But yes, you're supposed to have a magical girl that glows with an amulet. Let's see.
Man, I should have made her like Citizen Toxie. Right.
Well, I mean, even with just black, you can portray the idea of glowing. There's different techniques for that. Divine Zero says, I'm just waiting to hear fuck under one of their breaths. Truth be told, my wife's favorite word is shit, but you know, maybe if we're lucky you'll get one of those, or shit. When she curses, I get excited because it's like, yay, she's breaking her niceness.
Oh. Aw. How do I make this so she's not Sailor Moon?
Hey, there's nothing wrong with the Sailor Moon approach.
Just put her in a skirt.
You can do that. I mean, that's definitely more Sailor Moon-ish, but hey, that works. I like that you both have decided to do. Let's see here. Let me try to rephrase that. Meld has decided to go into familiar territory, where Spirey has decided to go into somewhat unfamiliar territory. I can definitely tell that she's challenging herself with this.
There we go. I just had an
rendition.
idea. Yes.
Oh, you just had an idea. Uh-oh.
I did.
Well, I hope you can get that idea done within the next 4 minutes. Dun, dun, dun! I almost wish I had a keyboard so I can start doing those chords whenever I want. I mean, I could use the sound mod from the voice modulator that I have, but I have to make sure that it's working first. I don't think it's going to work right now because I haven't actually done anything with it, but I'll check. Oh, it does work. Okay, never mind. The only problem is I don't have the buttons completely memorized, but I'm also not gonna. I'm not gonna deviate from your view in order to just play with the soundboard. I'm not gonna randomly spam different things because some of them can get quite loud. Rainiel, I like that they have completely different renditions of the term magic girl. Yes, absolutely. One is taking it literally, the other one is taking it figuratively, and neither of them are being able to tell who's the other person.
I might have to reset after this because my tablet's not responding to the other portion of my screen.
Oh, that thing again.
So I'm going to have to.
And we had
drag
just
this
gotten
up
the
a
new
little.
nibs done too. It's
know.
weird. Why does it do that? You mean resetting the computer?
Yeah, I'm going to reset the computer because see.
Yeah, I
it's
see what you're
stopping
saying.
right there.
It's weird because usually it's on the other half,
Yeah.
and now it's on the upper half. That's. Hey, you're still getting through it though, so that's good.
Nope.
Spirey Wolfsinger reminds you that Spirey needs an amulet.
Actually, she's got one.
Oh, well, Wolfsinger.
But it's very simplified.
You've been put in your place.
I need to put some more detail on it. That's what I need to do.
The non-furry furry, I'm not going to say...
I just have a circle.
There you go. You just have a circle. The non-furry furry, I would read your comment, but I don't want to give the game away for either of them just yet because it's unique to see them without the knowledge of what's going on. Also, Zero says it's nice that you guys are doing something completely different because it's very refreshing. By the way, the 2-minute mark is passed.
Are we allowed to finish up?
You're already photoshopping. It's just
What?
a different program.
I said finish up.
Oh, finish up. Yes, you can finish up now if you want. I would still draw until the alarm actually sounds, but...
Oh, okay. I thought you said it was up already.
Rainio says the timekeeper is shit, and I can just tell you again to suck eggs! You try talking and holding a conversation while still paying attention to the time and the chat and what's going on in the pictures. By the way, both of you now are at the 1-minute mark. And once again, Rainiel, suck eggs. The non-furry furry is insisting, the amulet, spy! Rainiel, it's not my job, it's yours. You brought this on yourself, my dude. Absolutely, it's my fault. 40 seconds left.
Well, I'll just color that in. You'll read better.
There you go. 20 seconds are left on the clock. And then I get to use my favorite effect here for the last bit of the countdown, which is...
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time!
All right, pencils down, everybody, pencils down.
Yeah.
Let's see what we have. Everybody else can see it, but let's see about specifying who's got what. And let's go to our guest first. What do we have? Meld, you went with the anthro look, and you have yourself a cute little girl, anthro wolf lady, with fire on her fingertip. Looks like she's got fish netting on her arms. A cute little necklet. I guess the amulet is strapped in between the halter top there, or upper top.
Yeah.
There you go. A cute little mini skirt. Some leggings. Maybe jeggings? No, leggings. Leggings for sure. A little cape in the back, and her fluffy tail standing tippy-toed on her planar feet.
She's floating.
She's floating.
She's floating.
Yeah, you can tell with the cape billowing behind her.
Uh-huh.
That's cool.
And of course, we have fart clouds, which is, I suppose, supposed to be insinuating the glow.
Oh, stop for clouds.
It's dark evil glowing.
Oh, dark evil glowing. That's also code for fart.
She's a little goth.
I have a lot of dark evil glowing that
Magic
happens
girl.
in the middle of the night when I... Never mind, I'm gonna...
No, don't go there, but yeah.
Uh-huh.
That...
Aside from continuing to embarrass myself, let's see what Spirey has. Oh, you know what? I totally didn't even transition the screen there. This is the transition, because I left it in studio mode. So there's the up close for everybody else to see. There you go. Rainiel says you could hear Spirey blush from here. Probably.
Yeah, no, I was rubbing my cheeks.
Oh, you were rubbing your cheeks. So there was an actual audible. That was her rubbing your cheeks.
Yeah.
ASMR, Spirey rubbing your cheeks. Go ahead. That's your hands. Stop cheating. Don't be like that. If you're going to ASMR, at least do it right, where you have the volume completely up so that you can hear all the glistening happening from inside the mouth.
Oh, I hate that.
I don't. I've already been told that I'm not allowed to do it on the stream, but I'm doing it anyway, so screw all of you. Now that we've done that, let's go over to Spirey and see what she's done, okay? Here's what she did. This is what you did. That's you. So, talk to us about your little girl.
She's a witchy girl.
She's a witchy girl. She almost, like, to a degree, she looks like Pearl from Steven Universe.
Oh, I can kind of see that.
Like a
I mean,
young...
She's even got her... She's got her amulet on around her head.
Aha, you see that, Wolf? Her amulet is on her head.
She's wearing it kind of like a tiara or some sort of overhanging decoration.
Mm-hmm. You might need to screen share that so that she can see it.
Okay. Let me see.
Because I don't think she's watching the stream itself.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, right there in Discord. There you go. Click that, and there you go. Perfect. There. Now you can see in the Discord.
Oh. Oh, we both did witchy characters.
You both did witchy characters. Yes,
Yours
that was
is,
this
like,
one similarity. She went for
How
simple and
cute.
streamlined. You went for anthro, detailed, and what's the other word I'm looking for?
When you said magical character, for some reason my head kept clicking with Kiki's delivery service. So.
Oh, there you go.
Oh,
Some Ghibli's influence right there. That's nice. Very good. All right, go ahead and shut yours off so I can.
Okay.
That is very nice. Well, now we got to figure out what is your ladies' names. So, Meld, what's your lady's name?
oh, she's got to have some like dark ember, some like edgy, goth kid name.
like Bella Rose.
Yeah.
There you go. That's what our daughter was infatuated with as a name for the longest time ever.
Oh my goodness.
So Bella Rose, is that what it's going? Or you're going to come up with a different name?
I like dark ember because it's just
Dark Ember.
yeah, because she's got the fire. She's all
Gotcha.
goth.
There you
I
go.
don't know.
Kind of like cutesy pixel goth or pastel goth. How about that?
Yeah.
There you go. So we got Dark Ember for Meld. How about you, Spy? What's
Melodina.
Melodina? Definitely not your typical naming convention right there, but I like it. It does seem to fit. Melodina. Melodina the melodramatic. There you go. All right. Well, now that we've got the 10-minute out of the way, I hope you both are ready for the 1-minute part. And that is
boy.
definitely the most difficult part because you now have to take everything that you've done and round it down to its base elements for portrayal.
Time to shrink.
Well, not so much time to shrink, but you mean okay.
this
So
one
what we
out of
do
the way.
is preserve this layer, turn the opacity down to like maybe 20%, and then shrink it down.
Okay.
So that way we can preserve it.
Is that too much? Okay.
Because at the end we'll do a big side by side, and we'll see just how accurate we were, and you can still have a visual representation of it while you draw.
Cool.
Divine Zero, as a former emo kid, I feel that one, bro. And what he means by that is that somebody said that, Rainiel said, that name hurts my soul.
I'm right there with you.
Oh, Gray actually points out that there's an element of light and dark between the two. So Meld has the dark and Spy has the light.
Oh,
There you go.
They're nemesis.
They're nemesis, yeah. We're gonna have
How
a
do you say it?
bitch battle.
Oh no.
Cat
Maybe
dog
they're
fight.
best friends.
Oh, maybe.
Could be.
Best friends turned rivals.
Oh boy. So it's a Pokemon thing. She's got the fairy Pokemon and you've got the dark type Pokemon. Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Mm.
Ghost.
Ghost? There you go.
Ghost type.
Rainiel says this has anime battle written all over it. Yep, I agree with you. Okay.
Are they going to charge up for 4 episodes?
Like in Dragon Ball, yeah. Or talk about their past history while they're charging up
They have to
and the importance of why they have to win and what it means for everything, even though when they die, they can just get resurrected by getting seven more balls around the world. There you go. Yeah. Because who needs a plot device anymore? Okay, ladies. Now it's time to do all of this in 1 minute. I hope you're ready because you're going to need all the luck that you can. 1 minute starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Begin! You have 50 seconds.
No. Panic.
Oh, you were supposed to restart your computer, too.
Well,
Oh, wow.
no, I was going to do it for our next section.
Okay. You have 40 seconds.
Oh, no.
Oh, this is garbage.
Just get
Oh,
it done.
no.
Get it done.
Why did I make her so detailed?
You
I
have
know.
30 seconds. I warned you.
Well,
At the top of the show, I warned you.
I didn't listen.
You didn't
that
listen.
leg's
20
going the
seconds
wrong-
left.
Oh no. Oh no. The leg's going the wrong way, but that's where we are now.
Make it work.
Oh no.
10,
Help.
5, 4, 3, 2,
He has an arm.
1. Stop! Pencils down.
no.
Pencils
Oh,
down.
no.
Let's see what has happened to the ladies in this rendition of 1 minute. First, Meld. Dear God, what the hell?
She's trash.
She didn't quite get Thanos, so that's
You still
good.
have her form there.
She does still have her
Kinda.
form there, so she even still has a breast line, so that's good. She still has the amulet. You can still
Important
discernibly tell it's a female. We just don't have any fart cloud glowing, so
Oh.
aw.
It's implied.
And her right arm is now animatronic because it's just a stick.
She's a mid-transformation.
Mid-transformation.
She's a magical girl, you know.
Magical girl. There you go. Well, the magical element is definitely still there, except for the cyberpunk aspect that's now on it. All right. Spirey, let's see what happened here. Let's take a look. Oh my goodness, Spirey, actually, that did not turn out so bad. Your simplistic has actually really played to your favor.
Her spell went wrong, though.
Her spell did go wrong. She turned blocky.
Oh, that's
She-
awesome.
The overall shape is there. The amulet disappeared. The glowing has disappeared, but her form is intact, and she didn't get Thanos this time, which has been your tendency in the last few pictures. So definite progress, but 1 out of the 3 elements. Still, nonetheless, very, very good. I mean, considering, Rainiel says those lives will indeed save lives. Oh, I bet you. I think. Yeah, Rainiel meant to say thighs. That's right. The thighs will save lives. I think that was directed to Meld.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, have you
She's
ever
thick.
seen that lady that could squash watermelons with her thighs?
Yes.
That was
Yes.
I've also
awesome.
seen the Jerry
That's right.
Springer where the lady was able to crush watermelons with her implants, but I mean that's
Jeez.
still technically
my.
cheating.
What? She was throwing her boobs on them.
I know. She was
Oh,
practically
ouch.
elbow dropping them with her implants, and just that's
Oh.
still scary. And I know you could see him in the background just being like, "Oh dear God, what am I doing? What am I doing
Don't
with my life?"
pop. Don't pop.
I swear that those things weren't regular breast implants. They were just hacky sacks inside of the skin. I don't know. Well, time for the really fun part. Let's see you take all of that and do it in 10 seconds.
Oh no.
Oh, no. Well, let's let you shrink that down, and we'll get it back to our dual screen so people can see the action live as it happens. Let's see here. Divine Zero says that statement just made me finish my Tumblr. Thanks, Docs. And Gray says Busty Hearts, if I remember the name. I think that is right. I think that's right. It's been such a long time since I've seen it, but I think you're right, Gray. I'm glad I'm not the only person who remembers. That means the shame isn't entirely on me. So thank you so much for absolving me. And hey, Zero, just because you're out of makers does not mean that you're out of alcohol. You know this. Okay. Once everybody is all set, just give me an okay, and we will begin the last part of the challenge.
I think I'm ready.
You think you're ready? Okay.
I think.
Too.
Okay. So with this one, I'm going to say 10 seconds, and I'm going to count down from 5. So there's going to be a lot of pressure on that last half. Do what you can. Get as much of the base elements that you can. It's okay to not include certain parts. We're just going to judge you on it. Okay, 10 seconds begins in 3, 2, 1, begin. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and stop. That's it. That's it. No more.
Dear Lord.
Wow. The results are unmistakable. First, let's go get a look at Meld. Definitely went cyberpunk right there. Now you have part Iron Man with no legs.
But her cloud's back.
Her cloud is back. Yeah, she definitely had a little dank fart that happened.
I used a whole second to draw that. You better be happy.
Mm-hmm. A whole second. I'm very, very happy. You can't leave the fart cloud out.
That's awesome.
Okay. And now we have the Spy Fry. Let's see what the Spy Fry did. There's the Thanos thing we love and cherish. She brought back the amulet, but it's more like a swarmy little head turban now. She has her face, but yeah, the other half just... It's... Wow. Well, you did what you did. You followed it to the letter and to the T, and you both did a really, really great job, both on your 10 minutes, 1 minute, and of course the 10 seconds is going to look like shit, but that's half the fun anyways. Woo! Divine Zero says spoilers. Man, that movie has been out now for 2 years. I don't want to hear nothing about spoilers for Avengers, okay? There are freaking toys of the gauntlet implying what happens. I don't want to hear about your spoilers. Well, now that we got that, we'll go back into this one. Now, normally for the third one, I would jump in too, but I think that this is going to be a little bit too niche, and I think I know, I'm not going to say I think. I know that I'm going to screw it up.
Come on.
No, I know it would be fun, but I mean, I can only humiliate you in so many ways.
Come on.
And, you know.
I know you want to.
I think it would be best, given what the challenge is, especially since I know what it is, to not do that.
Oh, no.
We're going to do a little role play, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, boy.
I'm going to give you a little story that's going to happen.
Okay.
Guess what? Both of you are out in outer space. And not just any space. You're on a space station. And on that space station is a club. In fact, Spyry knows this club because she owns this club. The name of that club, Spy, is?
Halcyon.
Halcyon. Halcyon 9, right? Or no, just Halcyon. So you're in a space station club out in the middle of the system. And you're both in there to perform a particular job today. That job is that, well, the tattoo parlor in the station, everybody called in sick. Except for you two. Spy, you are going in there just so that you can help out, whereas Meld here, who happens to run the shop, asked you to see about helping out with it.
I can do that.
Absolutely. And lucky for both of you, you guys have just one client today to take care of. And that client, of all things, is a naked mole rat. And he's not just any naked mole rat. He's a very, very robust, old naked mole rat. And you can tell that he's gotten tattoos all of his life. But he happens to have 2 patches on him that he needs to have filled by your expertise.
Like cover-ups?
No, not cover-ups. Original works. He goes up to you ladies and he says, you know what? I've been waiting to get these 2 spots until both of you were available, and it seems that my luck has truly changed today. So here's what I want. I want 2 different tattoos. Meld, I would like you to depict, in the most bossa nova way that you can, a dwarf warrior that has demonic features wielding dark magic.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. But you can only use 2 colors other than black.
Oh, we're using colors this time.
Yes, you're using colors this time.
Does white count as a color?
White counts as a color, and you can't use it.
Oh, okay.
He has a thing
Doable.
about white. He thinks it makes him look paler.
Oh, okay.
Spy, I want a fat monster that has more limbs than they should while holding a paintbrush. a fat monster that has more limbs than it should, who has a paintbrush. Now, the naked mole rat has decided that, you know, it might not be necessarily the best practice to put the tattoo on the skin immediately, so he's going to give you 5 minutes to put something white on the paper. But after that 5 minutes, you got to apply it to that skin flesh and start doing your dirtiest with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 15 minutes up on the clock. I'm going to give you 15 minutes on just the white space to do what you want. But after the 15 minutes goes up, you got to put the flesh on so you can see what it looks like. And you have to use a mask to blend it into the skin.
Ooh.
And then continue from there to implement the tattoo.
Wait, I'm not sure if I understood.
Photoshop terms, you start with a white, right? And then I have given you in Discord a skin texture.
Oh, we're supposed to put it on top of the skin texture.
Yes.
Gotcha.
And then you're supposed to mask the tattoo into the skin to look like it is actually being put into the skin.
Okay, but we're going to draw first, and then we're going to implement that?
You're going to start drawing now on the white, and then after the 5 minute mark, you're going to be drawing onto the skin directly.
Okay, let me open that layer real quick.
Mm-hmm. If you would like to do this at home, and you want to do your own little layer, grab a piece of skin anywhere that you have. I do have one that I've given to both Meld and to Spy. But if you at home would like to see about participating, I'm going to give you your own special creation to put onto the naked mole rat. And for you at home, you're going to do a genius child that is a spy who's wearing dark armor. Now, you can do this tribalistically, you can do this vintage, you can do this whatever you feel floats your boat. The naked mole rat trusts you, but says that you need to maintain to that style. Okay.
I have a dwarf that's demonic.
Yes.
Okay.
With dark magic.
Oh. Cool.
Mm-hmm. Spy.
Mm-hmm.
You have a monster with more arms than he's supposed to. With paintbrushes.
You said one.
With one paintbrush, yes. And then for everybody else out there who wants to participate, should you like to participate, let's see you draw a tattoo of a genius child that is a spy. Not my spy, but, you know, the intelligence kind of spy. Who is wearing dark armor. I'm going to start the first 5 minutes here very shortly. In 3, 2, 1. Oh, wait, whoa. You know, I just realized you said you needed to restart.
Yeah, I do, but I don't want to hold us up.
I mean,
Take a little bit.
if anything, it's going to give you a little bit more extra time. Go ahead and restart.
Oh.
We'll give everybody a quick little 5 minutes. Not so much as a break, but just like a little 5 minutes to do any other additional questions for Meld or things that they want to do. Divine says I should participate yourself, and I said you should participate, Zero. How about you? I participated at the last show. I haven't seen your stuff yet. Do it. And besides, I created Chungert. That's my lasting legacy for the show.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we got the Chungert Award of Excellence.
Forever.
Now it's your turn. Your art is shite. Like, mine is that much better. Don't even say that. You can't. And you literally just said in another Discord that your art juices are starting to flow. So now I'm calling you out on it, bud.
Ooh, throwdown.
Indeed, it's a throwdown. Wolfsinger says he's worse, and I bet you Wolfsinger probably has a little edge to you there, Zero. No discredit to you, Wolf. I'm just using your words. That's all. Zero says, no. I said I want to get my art juices flowing. Well, what better way to get your art juices flowing than to flow that ink onto that paper?
Come on, draw with us.
Or digitally in this case. That works too. Do not escape. Do not resist. Oh, do not scratch your balls when you're trying to be doing other things because it's going to pinch. Ow, 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 ow. Okay. Not that everyone needed to hear that. I know. But then again, it's content. We're almost ready. Don't forget to turn your OBS back on.
Yep. Give a second. I gotta open that program again.
Krita, the Krita. Got to get the Krita. Poppers
Are
is
we
off near the
Sonic
door.
now?
Oh, there was a
yeah, it did sound
huge
like
Sonic discussion prior to the show that was going on, and it has influenced some of the thoughts I have in my head, but it just, yes.
He made us watch part of the new trailer for the movie.
I had Spy watch the new part of the trailer, and then I started singing the old Sonic, he can really move. And she's like, why are you singing a good Sonic song over something like that? I was like, Sonic, he's got an attitude. Of course, she's just rolling her eyes at that point. He's the fastest thing alive. I didn't butcher it nearly as bad as I am right now, but, it worked. I got to annoy her, so mission success. OBS. Okay. Wolfsinger says, must be a black monster at midnight. Divine Zero says, ugh, let me get my pad, you fuck. All right, he submitted. All right, good. Divine, I'll tell you what. I will start the countdown as soon as you say that you are ready inside of the Twitch chat. You will be the you'll be the flare to start this off, okay? Zero, as I said, your tattoo that you're going to make for this naked mole rat.
And we're back.
Test your pad. Is it all better?
Down here. Looks like it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yay! Doodles everywhere. But Zero, you're going to be doing a genius child that is a spy who's wearing dark armor. Both of you can only use 2 colors. Black is not a color. It's a pigment. Or, I'm sorry, it's a shade. You can use black, but you can't use white. Black has to be 100% black. You can't go variations of black.
Wait. I don't know
No
if
opacity?
it's because it's
What's up?
she said no opacity?
No opacity.
Oh.
100% opacity on your black.
Okay.
Oh.
But we're
I'll turn-
only using black? I'm sorry.
Black and two of any other color that you choose.
Okay.
But they have to be consistent.
Sorry, my brain is getting muddled.
It is getting late,
Alright.
yes.
Are all brushes free to use as long as they are 100% opacity?
Yes.
Awesome.
Just as tattoo artists have different needles for different applications of those color jobs, you can use whatever tools in your toolkit to portray it.
How exciting.
Oh,
All
Zero
right.
says, I'm doing this in pencil, so I have to do shades. I suppose I can forgive you for that, but try to keep your main pencil for bordering and stuff as dark as you can. And then to imply color, use that same sort of opacity. I think that should be lenient enough. Just don't try to cheat the system. This is a good faith effort, okay? There you go. There you go. All right, Zero, when you say you're ready, just say ready, and we will begin the countdown for your 15 minutes. The first 5 minutes are going to be on white, and then the last 10 minutes are going to be with your mask, actually applying it to the skin. And the reason why I do that is because you can see it on white, but then suddenly apply it to the skin, you're like, oh boy, what did I do? That's part of the challenge, part of the fun of it. Zero, when you're ready. Your topic, Zero, is going to be a genius child that is a spy who's wearing dark armor. Zero says, let's do this, and I am so fucked. Yep, you are. Congratulations. At least you're not a virgin anymore. Here we go. 15 minutes begins in 3, 2, 1, go. So we're doing a tattoo. Everybody's doing a tattoo for this naked roll-mat man. Well, he's not really a man. He's just... Now I want to sing the Trogdor song. Trogdor!
Trogdor was a man. I mean, he was a dragon man. Or maybe he was just a dragon. But he was still Trogdor!
I won't continue with that because I know I'm probably piercing people's ears. I saw a little bit of red on my sound module there. That's bad. Plus, I didn't have the reverb on, but whatever. Ooh, we're starting to get some face lines already for what Meld is doing. That's nice. I like that. And then Spirey seems to be mapping out her stuff first before putting down full inks. Oh man, I can't wait to get you all starting to do TKO. It's going to be great. I will participate in TKO, okay? I'll draw dicks for TKO. Gloomore says, ouch, my ears. Rainiel says, stop that. Okay, I stopped. I even stopped myself before either of you said anything. Also, Gloomore, we noticed that you followed after the stream. Thank you so much for the follow. We appreciate it. Thanks for coming back tonight, too. Thank you so much. Let's see here. Gloomore says, I'm glad I could join. Yeah, we're really glad to have you and glad to see you that you're a repeat customer. Well, not even customer. A repeat viewer. That's what I meant to say. If you want to know when we're doing all of our streams, our Discord is below. Feel free to join up on that. If the link doesn't work, tell me and I'll fix it. I know sometimes those things go out. And if you want to participate at home, you can absolutely participate at home. You can bring your art and drop it off in our Dropbox down below. JPEGs, pings, avoid GIFs, avoid videos, avoid PSD files or, large context files. We're not paying for it. It's a free thing. We got limited space. We're cheap for now. All that good stuff. Let's see here. Gloomore says, ooh, I think I'll have to look at the Discord. Yeah, we'd be glad to have you over there. You can see all the little different discussions. We talked about the Sonic cartoon show. We talked about RPGs. We talked about all sorts of other things that have influenced over the years our different outlooks on things. So you'll find a nice set of discussions that are in there. And then you can derp around and look at the memes that we send and share. Some of them, most of them are mine, and they suck, but they're still funny. At least I think so. I haven't gotten too many complaints yet, so that's, I would say, a good sign. Oh, it looks like Spirey's starting to get to her line work, which is good. That's very, very good. And I can definitely tell the detail is setting in for Meld's stuff. This is really developing quite well. Very, very nice. Wolfsinger has posted an octopus reaching out. He's using the emotes to make an octopus. That reminds me, we do need to see about making our own little stickers for followers to use. We have not gotten around to that just yet. I like what you're going for, Mel. So far, the form, that's really, really nice. I do approve.
Yeah.
Let's see if you can do it in one more minute.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Wait, what?
In one more minute, you have to start applying it to the flesh.
But I don't have enough time.
I know you don't have enough time. You're doing the sketch work right now, but then you start putting the actual stuff down in those 30 seconds. Let's see. No chat yet from the Twitch chat, but that's okay. Oh, speaking of Twitch chat, we are going to see eventually about expanding from Twitch itself to also YouTube and a couple other things like Pixel and some other stuff. We're doing some feelers out there to see just how well we can work with it, but for now, we're still just on Twitch, so you don't have to worry about trying to find things in different stuff. However, what you will do is you'll see... Oh, pause. I gave you 10 extra bonus seconds. All right. Apply the skin and start tattooing on the flesh. I will tell you when to begin. Puppy, quit trying to chew on my hand. Come on. I know you want to play, but it's not time to play. Lay down. Lay down. Good old Kirill. Oh, yep. See, it's starting to come along for both of you. There we go. All right. Let us start your 10 minutes in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, begin. Start your tattoos. Let's get it complete. 10 minutes to complete the tattoo. Wolf Singer says, do you give lessons? Spy, do you give lessons?
I can.
Okay, Spy can give lessons. Meld, can you give lessons?
Kind of.
Kind of.
You can message me.
Well, Wolf Singer does know... Wolf Singer has gotten in contact with you a few times. I think he commissioned a sticker from you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just to reiterate the rules, you do get 2 colors, and you only get black. And just as before, I'll let you know every 2 minutes what you're at for the time, so you don't have to worry too much until it starts getting closer to like 2 minutes. Then you start have to really worry. Good old cough drop. Use it to help soothe my throat. I have avoided getting sick this entire winter. I'm not going to get sick suddenly now over nothing. I refuse.
Kind of grossing myself out with this one.
Kind of grossing yourself out. That just means that you're doing a good job. That's like pure evidence that you're doing a good job. Oh, look at that. Meld is breaking out the tilting modifier. Yes.
Well, I figured in the spirit of tattooing, I can't erase, so...
That is a nice tidbit. I will give you props for that. That was not a rule that I said that you had to do, but that does go in the spirit of tattooing, of not erasing. Well, the good news is that I missed the 2 minute mark and you have 7 minutes, 30 seconds left. Things are definitely shaping up. For those of you who are viewing, you're going to be very, very useful later on because you are going to be voting for this episode's Chungert Award of Excellence and Achievement. It will either go to Spirey or it will go to Meld, and that's based on your decision.
Wait. We have a guest too.
Oh, and we do have Zero as well, although we'll have to see Zero's effects later on since he's having to actually use pencils for it.
I didn't know I had 2 people for competition.
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
that's a way to really bring your anxiety up, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's okay. I think you're doing well enough considering you're competing.
Usually a really slow sketcher, so doing everything in this time limit is not something that I'm used to, but it's a lot of fun.
Ideal.
Well, that's the nature of showbiz, unfortunately. You have a time limit. And technically, we're already over it because we're trying to keep it down to 2 hours, but we kind of fail at that, both this episode and the last episode and the last episode. Okay, fine. Every episode, we've failed the 2 hour mark. But you know what hasn't failed? The fact that you're now at 6 minutes left. That was a bad transition, but that's okay.
So far, so good.
See, this is one of those moments where, like, I need to have some non-copywritten music, and I can play it while you guys are doodling.
I was trying to prepare some stuff.
Oh,
I wasn't able to get a full list together.
Yeah.
Over the 2 hours.
But this would be something where I could start playing it, and you guys can be, like, doodling away, and everyone else can be listening to, like, elevator music, and, you know, be like, at least there's something back there. We are working on options for music. It's not as easy to find as you would think it would, because many of the places where they say that you don't have to, like, worry about licensing and stuff like that, you have to pay to use their stuff. Which means as soon as you stop paying, then you're no longer licensed to use their stuff. So any old videos that you have that utilize their stuff is now copyright claimable, and yeah. No, phone, don't turn off. I'm using you. So, fun fact, and completely sidebar of what's going on the screen right now, our pup, who is a husky, has decided in his boredom to take his bowl out of his kennel, put it up on the couch to where he is laying now, and is just kind of chilling out there. And I just now noticed this. Looks like we have a lot of progress for Meld. 4 minutes, by the way. 4 minutes left. Spy's getting the rest of her line work down.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be able to hit the colors with how slow I'm going.
Well, I mean, it was never said that you had to fill the character with color. It just said you had the option to use 2 more colors. And to be fair, too, this isn't something you've practiced, so you're you're going this on the fly. You're ultimate champ mode. So the 10.
I believe in you, Fiery.
Thank you.
So Spy, your territory is the 10-1-10 challenge, and then her territory is the tattoo drawing. It balances out.
Yeah.
Although it could be one thing, it could be a little bit more even ground if I would told you both to create a character that are both anthro. Because you've done that. I asked for a tattoo specifically of that. Zero says, so my power just went out. I had to hop on mobile.
Uh-oh.
Man, I tell you what, I would complain to your power company if like because I noticed you said that your power goes out quite a few times. I'm surprised. That or go Amish and see about getting them propane tanks. But you want to know what's not a gas about all of this? It's the fact that you got 2 minutes left.
My goodness.
Yeah, transitions.
I feel much better about this one.
Yeah,
This is more of my wheelhouse.
there you go.
Yeah.
I'm mortified.
She's mortified now. Honestly, I like what you got going on over there, Spy. You're really doing a good job.
I mean, it's an interesting character. He's, like I said, he's kind of grossing me out.
Yeah, he's grossing you out. All you need now is just a little bit of color. But I know you're finishing up your lines. In the time that's coming up here, you'll have time to throw down some color. You just got to make sure that you pick a good swatch. Zero says, I'm actually allergic to burning propane, so fuck that. Okay, well, that works too. if I'm not going to get any heavier on context of what it said, Spire, you have 1 minute left, so I would advise you to start doing colors. Dun dun dun. 50 seconds.
50 seconds to do color?
Yep.
What?
Yep. Not a rush job. You know what? 40 seconds. And we are now at 30 seconds.
Oh no. I need to put that in a different layer.
Uh-oh. No, you can keep it in the same layer.
No, because
Oh, okay. 20. 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And done. All right. Well, the audience can definitely see what's going on here, but let's see about having a little bit of a close-up of what each of you have accomplished. First, let's go traditionally over to our guest and see what we have right here. Let's take a look at your Mr. Warrior. That turned out really nice.
that's beautiful.
Yeah.
You used one color and one dark.
Yep.
Yep. So you're like, I have a second color to use, and said, fuck it, not going to do it.
I couldn't pick second color. It's like, well, let's just go all in.
There you go. Hey, that was a good decision, and it paid off in the end. And it definitely portrays a demonic, big face, and being, for sure, darkness and magic and stuff. Yeah. Although,
Wait a minute.
having the hoppy sparks that are all around his face now, you can definitely tell he drinks IPs. There you go. Well, let's move from that over to Spirey, and let's see what she has done. And you'll share that for her to see. There you go. For everyone else, here's what we got. We got a monstrous little guy with more arms than he should have, with a paintbrush. And you know what?
Oh, he's so proud.
Yeah, he's very proud. He's very proud of what he's done. And even though he did not use a lot of color, the use of the color implies quite a bit. It's just a small amount, but it draws so much character to it. So even though you didn't use a whole lot of color, for the two colors you could, you only also used one color, and you used it very effectively. You probably don't feel like you've used it effectively.
No, but
No.
I mean, I guess it tells a story.
It does tell a story. Let's see here. The non-furry says, is it just me, or did the audio get jumpy? Might have been something with the... Let me see. Jumpy. No, that auto effect is going off. It could have been lag. Sometimes the audio will get weird on the lag. Is it cleared up now? Hopefully it's cleared up. Maybe there was a packet drop or something that went through, but it blended it all together. Either way, hopefully it wasn't too upsetting. We'll make sure that we can try and fix part of it in post, or just crop it out. We'll see how it goes. But let's have a look at both of those. Now that we have seen it, what do you name your dwarf tattoo there, Meld?
Bob.
Bob the demonic dwarf. It's
Bob the Evil.
Bob the Evil
that's his
demonic
title?
dwarf. Oh, Bob the Evil
Yeah.
is his title. Okay.
Bob the Evil. Capital E.
And Spy? As David S. Pumpkins would put it, what's my name? Ooh, she's thinking. I can see the steam.
Pinky the Lint Painter.
Pinky the Lint Painter. So, like, does he go...
He
Oh.
got his paint from his belly button.
He got his paint... Oh, God, no! That's not what I was going to say at all. I was going to say, well, like, is he underneath someone's belly button and he's painting into the
Nope,
belly button?
see?
But no,
There's
you're...
a little bit of paint in his belly button. From his belly button.
So, like,
No
what...
wonder you were grossed out.
So what? He has like an infection in his belly button, so he uses it as his paint?
Yeah.
Oh! See, that's the one thing I love about Spy. Is she ties something more into the picture. Oh, man. Now I'm grossed out, and I have a cough drop in my mouth, and I almost don't want to have it there anymore.
Remember, kids, wash out your belly button when you take a shower.
Oh, boy. Tell me about it. Well, given that revelation, audience, now it's your turn. I'm going to give you 5 minutes. It's currently 33 minutes after the hour. We will close up the votes at 9:37 Central. Either vote for A for Meld, for Bob, or
Evil.
Bob the Evil. I'm having to type it out too.
Was Zira able to finish his drawing?
No, his power went out, so I probably got paused in the middle of it. Or B, Spirey, with Pinky, the, was it naval painter? Oh, the lint painter. So yeah, votes will begin now. It's 9:34. We will wrap it up at 9:39. So, Meld, in your process, let's talk about like how you started getting the design, the shape. Run us through your process when you were doing your draft before you started actually putting it on the skin.
Well, I figured in the time limit, I was like, well, I'm just going to do a head instead of the whole body.
Mm-hmm.
So I've just started with laying the groundwork for drawing a head, and then like, well, evil. Let's add evil demonic. Let's add some horns.
So you turn him into a warlock,
basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love the font work, by the way, on the banner.
Oh.
Yeah, your calligraphy is fairly on point.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, thank you. I normally just used fonts in my actual work, but
Yeah,
I
given
figured
the
in the spirit of things.
it would probably take more time to actually try and type out and then rotate each character rather than just doing it yourself. And then you obviously went with red because of what it implies.
Right. Well, and also because red was a really common color in like American traditional tattoos.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you think of like the heart with like mom and stuff like that. So and I knew it would pop on the skin.
It definitely helps bring out the rosy tones of what skin tends to do, especially when it starts getting flesh.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with the dots and the stars that you brought out from your brushes and stuff, what made you want him to drink hops beer?
That wasn't a thought that I had, actually. I was really just kind of filling it to tie together the disjointed head and banner. And adding dots and stars is a common filler tool in tattooing.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just like, well, let's do it. And that's actually the little star thing. It's a brush I had made a long time ago to be a filler.
You know, this is going to sound maybe a little weird. Maybe you can relate to it, but I almost get Blair Witch Project out of those images right there.
I can see it. Most of the time I have the tool set to rotate a little bit as each different one.
With the jitter?
Yeah. So I just didn't even think about it. I was like, gotta get this done. I only have 40 seconds.
We have 2 more minutes left. We have 2 votes down. We're definitely going to need some more votes out of this. Otherwise, we're going to have to do another tiebreaker with a coin. So, viewers, please put in your opinions. A for Meld and the Bob the Evil tattoo, or B for Spirey with Pinky the Lint Painter. Go ahead and put your votes inside of the chat for the Twitch chat, and we will see about deciding on the Chungert Award of Excellence. Can you go ahead and start pulling up that layer and stuff?
Sure.
Okay. That way I'm not having to, make a mistake. I would like to not make a mistake this time. 1 more minute until the votes close. Which one has won the competition for the best tattoo? Do we have A for Meld or B for Spirey? Let us know in that chat, and we will see about tabulating it all for the Chongert Badge and Award of Excellence.
I know who I'd vote for.
I have a feeling I know who you would say.
I don't know. I like mine, but I do like Pinky, so I don't know.
Well, we are getting close. We're almost there. All right, the time has been reached. A victor is being decided on now that we've tabulated up all the votes. And yeah, it seems to be true. Well, ladies and gentlemen, viewers of the Twitch chat and those of Heavy Artillery, it is my pleasure to award the Chongert Badge of Art Excellence to Mel. Yo! Congratulations.
Thank you.
We'll make sure that you have a copy of this award to put onto your profile should you want to.
Yeah.
And its base image is based off of Chongert the Dim, which is the character I made for my first 10-1-10 challenge. And we'll show you the whole origin of how Chongert came to become a chocobo little thing too. But yeah. Anyhow, now that we've gotten done, Meld, thank you so much for being a guest on our show and for providing us all the insight, knowledge, and entertainment for this evening. It has been a great pleasure to have you with us.
Lovely to have you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was fun.
We will definitely see about poking you next Thursday, along with a couple other people, hint, hint, wink, wink, to see about having an all-out brutal competition between several different artists. Maybe even artists that you, the audience, have not seen yet. We'll see how that goes. But in the meantime, make sure that you love an artist today. If you want to, we will have an updated version of this for your viewing pleasure on YouTube. Make sure that you subscribe and slap that like button over there. Make sure that if you haven't done so, follow us here so that you know when other Heavy Artilleries will come in.
Let's give Meld a plug for her
website.
As
Meld,
well.
where can everybody find your stuff?
I am literally everywhere as Dragonmelde. That's Dragon, Melde. So I'm on Twitter, FA, Facebook, Instagram, and my website, dragonmelde.com. So,
And she has a website.
I do.
Excellent. And for all the viewers out there, we will have those links inside of the YouTube and in the Twitch portion of the clip here for you to be able to go to. Once again, thank you all for joining us tonight. It's been a pleasure to have another artist. Oh, to transition. Okay, cool. And, oh, you want me to go over to yours. Okay, sorry. And, yeah, we have your website here now showing it. That is our website. It has the big giant panther or leopard on it.
Yeah.
There you go.
And all of your times for your upcoming events is on the site as well.
Absolutely. So you know that if you want to go to any of the different cons that you're going to or events, that you can see about getting your own direct commission work right from there. So yeah. Be sure to check out Dragonmelde. We should hopefully have her again in the future, along with a couple other artists. And we hope to see you guys in the future for our big Bonanza competition. Next week, we're going to meet Katniss, and we're going to see about what she does with some of her inspirational stuff. In the meantime, as I said it over and over again already, but I'm going to swear it'll be the last time this time. Thank you again for joining tonight. We are done. Thank you all. All right, it's time to turn it off. Turn it off.
Turn it off.
Turn it off.
Turn
Turn
it
it off.
off.
Turn it off.